Hi, and welcome to another episode of Money Talk. And today I have an incredibly special guest, and I'm so pleased. I would not have had the courage to do what I'm doing right now, having my own podcast, interviewing people. I know how to talk, but when you're all by yourself and now you're talking to people about totally different subjects, well, let me just tell you that you can break through those walls yourself because today my special guest is none other than Ken Walls. And I have two requests for you right now. One of them is to share this video with others if you like what you see. And stay tuned because I'll be right back. Linda gave me the courage, the confidence to move forward.
And after I was finished with Linda K's training, I was at the next level.
It's Linda K. When you trust that piece of you that says, I got something to give, I have something to say, you know you've got something to do.
Get on your feet, shake your hands in the air. Welcome to the stage, Linda K.
So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to my show, Money Talk, my friend, my very good friend and mentor, Ken Walls.
Hey, Linda.
Ken? Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am excited. I am down in San Diego, and I am anticipating that big storm that everybody's been talking about to come. There's a tropical storm coming up from the Baja with some big ferocity, and they're saying that we're going to have a hurricane, not a hurricane, a hurricane.
Wow. I've never heard of hurricanes hitting the California coast. That's
never in my life. Now, I do know that warmer waters, because we're experiencing warmer waters these days, and there's no such thing as global warming, right? Oh. So I can tell you that the warmer waters bring up things that we really do want to see. If you're a fisherman, that's because it brings in the big game, like marlin and swordfish and all that kind of crazy stuff. But the winds and hurricane, I don't know about that. So
never heard of it.
Me neither.
Wow.
But Ken, tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me what's going on with you just made a huge move. And I will tell you that you have to get used to the things that come into your life, right?
Yeah.
And the things that come into your life in a way that are unexpected. What are some of the unexpected but pleasant consequences of making your move?
Well, I moved my family from Ohio to Dallas, Texas, last November. So we're coming up on a year now, which is unbelievable.
It just went so fast, didn't it?
It's like I blinked. My daughter started school again yesterday, in 8th grade, and it was her first day. And it's like, how did that happen? The summer just went like that. And anyway, so some unexpected pleasantries have been, my best friend is Glenn Morshower, the famous actor. And he lives here in the Dallas area. And what's really cool about living here is him and I get to hang out a lot, really a lot. And he invited me recently to be in a movie with him. And then the following weekend, after I was in about 4 or 5 scenes in the movie, he invited me to bring my whole family out to film the final scene with my whole family in a church scene. And it was really cool because he set it up so my daughter would be in this really special shot with him. And just really, I stay pretty open in life to everything. I believe that closed-minded people get closed-minded results in life. And I like to stay open to whatever God wants to bring me.
I will tell you, the unintended consequence of friendship it can bring so many benefits. And like you just said, it's not just keeping an open mind, Ken, it's keeping an open heart. Can you
Yes.
talk about that for a second?
Well, I'm very open about this. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I just celebrated 21 years of sobriety, and
Oh my goodness.
it's a
Congratulations.
it's a
21
gift.
years.
21
Wow.
years, it's a gift. And about 20 years ago, give or take a few days, somebody said to me, "You need to meditate." And I was a holy roller at the time, and I said,
Now
"That's
wait a minute.
evil."
Was this a year into your recovery?
Yeah, about a year
It's so
in.
interesting because there's this dichotomy of I was so extreme in this regard.
Yeah,
Now let's go completely the opposite way and
yeah.
let's get real extreme over there.
Well, I was very like, oh no, that's not, Jesus wouldn't be happy with that, or what, I just was in this very dogmatic mindset, and so I eventually I started meditating, and it is the most amazing thing that I've ever done, is just started to meditate. And people are like, "Well, how do you learn how to meditate?" And I'm like, "You just meditate." I mean, it's already, all you're doing is trying to connect with God, with the spirit, the creator of everything. And people are like, I like to say, because I've heard other people say it, that we pray and we're talking to God, and when we meditate, we're listening to God. And
Oh, that's so good. I
right.
love that. I
And
love that.
yeah, so I've just meditated every day of my life. It's a non-negotiable for me, actually. Even when we're on vacation or whatever, I meditate. It's part of the deal. And
Is that something that, like rituals, what we get up and comb our hair and brush
yeah,
our teeth, have that cup of coffee thing in the morning, or
yep.
before you go to bed at night? What do you do it more than once a day, or just once will get you there?
Yes to everything. Yes, it's the very first thing I do in the morning. I get a cup of coffee, I take a few sips, and then I meditate for 15-minute increments, and I'll drink some coffee. And I'm saying 15, it could be 10, it could be, I don't know, but I'll take another couple of gulps of coffee, and then I'll meditate some more. And I do that every single morning. Sometimes during
But it sounds like you might do that more than once. So you said
yeah,
15-minute increments. So do you go into meditation? I like to think of it as going into spirit, right?
yeah,
Because when you are within, right, you're shutting out every external distraction,
yeah.
quieting your mind so that you can allow that spirit within you to talk to you. How do you stop the chatter? How do you know it's God? How do you know it's not, something else?
Right. I don't.
That wasn't the answer I was looking for.
I just I don't know. I look, I think that anybody that claims to know all the answers, they are full of crap. So I know that it's helped me be more grounded, be more kind, be more loving and lovable, and it's guided my steps in life. And I pray also, but there's, in my first book, I wrote a story that I read in one of Dr. Wayne Dyer's books. It's an old Hindu story, and I'll summarize it quickly, but it's one day the gods, because they believe in multiple gods, the gods all got together, and they were really upset that the humans had received this free gift from them since the beginning of time, and they've been abusing it and misusing it. And so they decided to hide it from the humans. And what they did, the first god said, "Hey, I know where we can hide it. Let's put it at the top of the highest mountain in the world, and they all said, no, the humans will learn to climb, they'll find it too easy. The second god said, how about we bury it in the deepest part of the ocean? And no, they'll learn how to dive down and find it way too easy. And this gift, by the way, is having the answer to everything you could possibly want to know in life or about life. And the third and wisest god of all of them stood up and he said, I know what we can do. Let's hide it deep within the humans themselves. They'll never think to look there. And so it continues today. And so when I meditate, I think that if we learn that the answers to everything we could possibly ever want to know or ask, the answers are within us. You've heard the saying, trust your gut, right? Well, that gut, the spirit of God, the creator of everything, resides in us right here beneath the xiphoid process, right? And so it's right there in the center of our chest. That's your gut. When you have that feeling like, should I do this? Man, everybody else is doing it, but I just feel like I shouldn't do it, or whatever. That's God. That's the spirit of God saying, hey, don't do it.
What's the difference between that and instinctive? Okay. So, and I like to think of instinct a little bit different than what you're describing, but how do you discern that instinct from the intuitive part that you're talking about?
I don't know. I remember in high school taking sociology, and for whatever reason, I remember the teacher saying, and reading in this book, that humans do not possess instincts. And I always found that to be a little curious. Like, why wouldn't we possess instincts? And we possess drives, is what I recall. Three major drives was sex, food, and I forget the third one, but I don't know. I don't know the difference between, I think instinctively, if I feel my child is in danger, I'm going to instinctively move my arm driving down the car to protect my child.
Sure.
I don't know the difference, but what I do know is that I meditate, and it's made a huge impact in my life on every level. Everything that I do, I attribute to my connection with God, and I'm not a religious. You know me pretty well. I'm far from religious, but I'm extremely spiritual. So
I think that's an important distinction as well, because when I think of religious, I think of dogma, I think of rituals, I think of in a different sense, that you're driven by a different reason for doing it. But spiritual is that inner drive that you're talking about, the drive that we want to have, that peace, that peace that passes all understanding, as they say.
yeah.
And it guides you to do things that may not have been as obvious to you. And some things that we like to think of is, wow, that was so coincidental. You just happened to be here at this point in my life, or you just happened to say something.
Yeah.
What do you think about in terms of coincidences? Is it a coincidence, or is it spiritual? Is it that connection with that intuitive or gut thing? That is it all part of that same package?
I contemplate this a lot, and quite honestly, I don't have the answer for it. I wish I did. I think that I like to say I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe that. I think that everything that we're doing, if we're seeking that higher level of consciousness in life, I believe that there are no coincidences. I think that there's at least a tinge of guidance in everything that's happening in our world. Now, I have but I don't think that God is a puppet master. I don't think that God is up there pulling strings going, okay, well, today Linda is going to be involved in a hurricane on the beaches of San Diego. And I don't think,
she just happens to go to the east side of San Diego and avoids all.
right.
unpleasant-
But I do think that we have, free will, and we have control over the outcomes in our lives. Have you ever met somebody that no matter what, something's always going wrong in their life?
Oh my goodness. Yes. And no matter how many good things you do for them, they will find something
Yes.
really wrong in it, right?
Yes, they have a problem for every solution. And I know people like that, and I distance myself from people like that as quickly as possible. And I'm
But they're out
talking
there. They're sometimes you
everything.
can't avoid them.
They're always sick, or they have a cold, or they have this, they have that going on, and it's
Wait a minute, and
all
they're
about
always
energy.
they're always in some sort of a public service
Yeah.
position that you have to customer service or
Right.
something, right?
Right. But I think that has little to do with coincidence and everything to do with their paradigm and their outlook on life. And
So I heard a friend say that it is a state of mind with judgment, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about their mindset and their judgment. That's what you're talking about. So that even if coincidentally something really fantastic should come to them, they're going to find there's something wrong with it. That new bed with that's gorgeous and the wood is beautiful on it, I can't sleep on it because it's making me cough. Right.
Right.
There's something wrong in it.
Yeah.
But talking about the coincidences and that the comment is not lost on me that there's nothing new under the sun. So
Right.
if there's nothing new under the sun, we must be missing a whole lot.
Well, and if you think about, I wrote about this in my first book.
What's the name of that first book, Ken?
Walls of Wisdom: Turning Pain into Profit. And I love Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I talk about the what you just said. Like I say in the beginning of the book, I said, look, if I quote somebody and I remember who said it, I'm going to say, this is who said it. I'm going to give them credit. I'm not going to try to that's plagiarism. However, I think that with that in mind, and Wayne Dyer said this, to your point, he said, there is no such thing as an original thought. All wisdom is plagiarized. Only stupidity is original. And right. And so I think about that and I think, okay. And you hear people get all, that was my idea. Case in point, anybody listening to or watching this right now, we've all had these multi-million-dollar ideas to invent the new widget or a new whatever. Mm-hmm. And we didn't take action. We didn't take action on it. And 6 months, a year, 5 years later, you're walking through whatever store and you see your idea sitting on a shelf and you're like,
Walmart, top shelf.
That was my idea. Right. And it's because of something called the 100th monkey syndrome.
And what the world is that?
Well, the scientists have discovered that they can take two monkeys from the same tribe or family, and they take one to a remote island on the other side of the world. They teach one a new trick that it's never done. And in a very short amount of time, the monkey on the other side of the world from the same family starts doing the trick without being taught. And it's because, and that's a really bad summary of it. But the point is Einstein said everything, and Einstein is arguably the most intelligent human to ever live. mainly because he used so much of his brain and still only used 10% of his brain power. But Einstein said everything is energy and motion. And if everything encompasses everything, right? Like it's everything is energy. The plants, the trees, this desk, there's on a molecular level, it's energy, it's moving, it's fluid, everything. If that's the case, then that means that every thought, every idea, every future idea, every bad idea, every past idea, every good idea, it's all floating around out here in the ethos. And we have access to that. We have access to that. Let me say it again. We have access to that. But we
How
have
often
to,
do we take access to it, though?
right? We get these ideas, and if it'll hit you, you don't take action, it's going to leave you, go back to the ethos, and somebody else, it's going to land right on them, and they take the idea, and they're like an action taker, and now I'm moving on this. So keeping all of that in mind, when an idea hits us, we have to take action, massive action.
Now, not all ideas shouldn't have action taken on them. And I could think of a few things that I should have, and I could have, and I didn't. Right. And then I see that invention, from a bike block to, whatever. But there are some ideas, that shouldn't be acted on. Right. Yeah. And I think about, but so that now we've got that internal struggle that I don't want to refer to it as, the positive or the negative, but there's somewhere in between. And now it goes back to the chatter. It goes back to the stuff that's going on up here. Yeah. Oh, that's a stupid idea. Nobody's ever going to like that. Nobody would ever pay you for that idea. Right. How do you stop that chatter? How do you find where that balance is so you should act on it?
Well, lucky for me, I dropped out of high school in 12th grade and I didn't go to college. See, I interrupted the training pattern, and I believe that we are all being programmed by governments, by teachers, by families, by rabbis, by priests, by preachers, by everything outside of us. I am on a divine mission. Do you know why I just said I'm on a divine mission? I looked down at my whiteboard here on my desk and I have written down, I am on a divine mission. It's literally right here in front of me. And I read that every single day. I'm on a divine mission, not to necessarily get Linda to take action, but I'm on a divine mission to connect on a higher level with God. So I have a better spirit of discernment. Now, if I have the idea of being cut off on the interstate and I'm like, I'm going to kill that guy, that's a bad idea. That's a really bad idea, right? Probably don't want to take action on that one.
No, and it would have some unintended consequences.
Right. But if I have an idea of a new bike lock or a whatever it is, why not take action? Why not? And as far as the chatter, I don't have that. So, people that say, well, I have a job and you should go get a job. I was told so many times, you need to go get a job. I don't relate to that. I can't relate to that. I don't have that chatter worrying about how other people are going to judge me and what they think. I don't care. And
you just hit it right on the head there, Ken. It's all about taking, when we take action and we listen to the good or the bad advice, and then they go out and make decisions by committee. They ask everybody that they know for confirmation. I think part of this has to do with your own image or your own thought of who you are, your respect of yourself, your belief in yourself, your belief in that higher power, which now gives you that ability to have discernment. A lot of people don't. And I heard somebody say to me the other day when I said, we were talking about this very thing. I said, why do we go through life like this? And why can't we just learn it right away? We're all slow learners. Well, yeah, We're a
Yeah.
planet of slow learners. We don't seem to learn from past mistakes or as history repeats itself over and over again. But you
Yeah.
get a chance to do something that I think is kind of interesting. And I know you encourage people to do it, and I probably would never have had Money Talk if you hadn't told me to do this. It's get out and do your podcast, get out and talk. And you've done how many? Over 4,000?
Well, on my podcast, Breakthrough Walls, I've interviewed over 500 celebrities and entrepreneurs. On as far as just doing live streams randomly and planned sometimes, but mostly random, I've done over 4,000
That
live
is
streams.
a crazy number. I mean, 4,000. That
It's a lot.
I can't even wrap my head around that. What
Yeah.
what have you gained? What knowledge have you gained? What experiences have you gained in doing so many?
Confidence, not just confidence in my ability to live stream, but confidence in my abilities, period. I don't, again, the more you do anything, the less you're going to fear judgment of doing that thing, right?
Well, you've also practiced something. They call it, the 10,000 rehearsals, right?
Right,
Beatles
right.
did it. I mean, from every but the notion of just speaking, a lot of people just get frozen and they go, "Oh my God, what am I going to talk about?" Right?
Right.
You know,
Well, so one of the biggest things I teach, because I teach this, what we're doing right now, which is public speaking. One of the things I talk about is just relax and be you and be authentic. People, I think everybody's BS detectors are on full tilt. Like we know when somebody's full of crap. We don't need sold another thing. I mean, hey, if you have a product or a service to sell, by all means sell it. I've sold millions of dollars on live streams, but throw in some authenticity. Like there are people that do live stream, that do podcasts, and it all seems so plastic and fake. And it doesn't need to. All you got to do, not you, but all people need to do is relax, be authentic, and stop worrying about pleasing every single person on the planet. There's 8.3 billion or whatever people on
Crazy.
planet Earth.
Yep.
I don't need everybody to like me. I don't need that. And I know that not everybody's going to. It's just, and it sucks. It took me a long time to get that. Way too long.
I think that part of that is there's this need, this driving need of I got to be out there, I got to do something, but we're also being bombarded with being told, hey, that building behind you is not on fire. Don't let your eyes deceive you. Don't let and we're told so many things that we even get confused about what is authentic, what is being yourself mean, what does that mean? And we were just talking about this yesterday, Ken. I was just it's amazing because once you let that notion and that judgment, that self-judgment, that self-talk go, a real conversation like we are right now. Have you had guests that just didn't know how to make that connection? Because you always make people feel so comfortable.
I've had guests that I could not connect with. I tried and tried and tried, and I'm pretty daggone good at it at this point. But, look, I think that, I think about, again, I'll mention Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said, Jesus told us that you should love thy neighbor as thyself, which presupposes that you love yourself. And most people don't.
They don't.
Most people don't know who they are. They don't know why they're here. And I'm talking the majority, not people like you or me and people out here hustling and trying to make a splash or a dent in this world. But most people are asleep at the wheel of life, and they die asleep at the wheel of life with their music never even being thought about being played. Like they just, I worked for 40 years at that place, and then I died. That's
Right.
not, I don't believe here's the truth. The truth is there's a 1 in 400 trillion chance that once the sperm and the egg meet and intersect and connect, there's a 1 in 400 trillion chance of actually being born into this world.
So you mean the fact that it was 1 in 400 trillion? I'm a winner already.
You're a winner. And here's the thing. People will stand in lines for hours at a time to play a lottery ticket, to buy a lottery ticket. And the chances of winning the lottery are 1 in 270 million. The chances of being born are 1 in 400 trillion. You already won the lottery. You're spending more time planning on how to buy a ticket than to live your life and live it at the highest level and really meditate and get to know who you are and stop worrying about the judgment and fear of what other people think, because there's crap. Nobody cares. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
Oh my God. Ken, how do people find you?
KenWalls.com is a good place to start.
You also have one other really, really great idea. And I think that's how I actually met you. You were talking about an e-card, a business card, and when I mentioned that to people are like, well, what is that? Can you just say what that is?
It's so I've used many different platforms. I have a video business card that's kensvidcard.com, but I also have kensbizcard.com, which is my digital business card creation. I got frustrated with this company I was using. I was paying 10 or 20 bucks a month to. It didn't work half the time. And so I went back and I developed my own. I've been in website development and programming for 30 years. And I can remember thinking, why are you paying some other company, you moron? Just develop your own. and so I did. It took me some time.
Remember, slow learning.
Yeah. So I developed my own, and it took about a year to perfect it, and it's now perfected. I also have this video business card thing called kensvidcard.com.
What's the difference?
When you go to kensvidcard.com, it pops up and it's a video. It's literally a video, and there's some other links to my other stuff and social media, and it's a lot of fun. But I think that look, I'm you can Google me too. I'm not hard to get a hold of. I'm not hard to find. Yeah, I'm everywhere.
That's awesome. We're just about out of time. And I love the fact that you quoted so many people from and greats. And one of my favorite, which is biblical, is just simply finding that discernment, that strength within you. Leave us with one thought.
The one thought I would leave anybody with is you are capable of so much more than you think you are. So much more. And you have to start believing that that's true to find it.
Beautiful and well said. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for all of the time and wisdom and the joy that I've had with you over these last few minutes. Thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. And that's a wrap. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and stay tuned. There's just so much more. Go out and be your authentic self. Thanks. Do you like to talk about money? If you do and you'd like to be a guest, contact me at lindak360.com.